So, Nancy, how will this latest revelation about these additional documents impact the president and his agenda going forward? I note that there are Republicans and Democrats saying that this is really a big problem.
Right. Never great when you've got a senator from your own party saying flat out that this is embarrassing. And there's no question that it is drawing public attention away from the president's agenda right now. And of course, we have no idea how long the special counsel's investigation is going to last and where it's going to lead. Interestingly, the White House officials I've spoken to have been insisting that the public just isn't paying attention to this very much, that they care more about things like the economy and inflation. And to that end, the White House points to a series of good economic numbers that we've seen when it comes to inflation and gas prices and unemployment over the past few weeks. They say people care a lot more about that. But the reality, according to Democratic lawmakers I've spoken to, is that it makes it more difficult now and going forward over the next couple of years leading up to the 2024 election for Democrats to make the case for President Biden that what he did is so different from what former President Trump, who's now running for re-election, did with his documents. They say, yes, there is a vast difference, but this muddies the water and it makes it more difficult for them to draw a sharp contrast. I haven't been able to find a single Democratic lawmaker who thinks that this was intentional. They all keep using the word sloppy, but nevertheless, they acknowledge that it does create something of a messaging problem for them.
I think part of the problem, too, for the administration is that we later found out that these documents were discovered months ago. And the administration had promised transparency. Are they living up to that?
Well, they say that they are because they were very quick to notify the National Archives and the Department of Justice when they discovered these documents. But obviously, they did not disclose it to the public for a couple of months. And even after CBS broke the story last week, they kind of put some of the information out piecemeal. They do appear to be trying to play some catch up. The president's personal lawyer, Bob Bauer, put out a statement over the weekend trying to explain the decision making, saying that they are balancing the need for public transparency with a desire to maintain the integrity of the investigation. There's no indication that the Department of Justice told them not to say anything publicly, so it appears they could have said something sooner if they wanted to, but it was something of an acknowledgement on the part of, if not the White House, the president's broader team, that they really got raked over the coals last week, and that even some Democrats privately have wondered why they didn't just put this out sooner.
So today is Martin Luther King Day, Nancy, as I'm sure you know. What's on the president's agenda?
He's going to be attending an annual breakfast honoring MLK Day here in Washington, D.C. He will be speaking there. This is a breakfast that's put on by Al Sharpton's National Action Network. He paid a visit to Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta yesterday, was actually the first sitting president to deliver a Sunday sermon at that famous church. And he was pretty frank talking about the work that this country still needs to do when it comes to race relations. He even brought up January 6th and said that people need to fight against those who traffic in racism, extremism, and insurrection. He also said, I don't need to tell you that we're not always at our best as a country. In a nod to some of the most famous speeches of Martin Luther King Jr., he talked about how much work has been done, but how much work still needs to be done here in the United States.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.